So I was just doing a little bit of spiritual practice, and it was really nice and positive. And I had a thought, which I was inspired to put forward to everyone, because I love everyone, and I think it's a good thought. It can lead to a more positive, lovable society, I think, if it's thought more. The thought was essentially this. For a little moment, I was trying to envision what ideal or more ideal society would be like. What would it actually be like in a detailed way? And I thought about, well, because concrete being not all concrete, but a lot of tar roads, being involving petroleum and probably not being very good for the ground, and a lot of times just breaking down and having to get repaired a lot of the time. I was thinking, dirt roads where, there can be dirt roads and it doesn't need to be. I grew up in Vermont where there are a lot of dirt roads, and when there aren't as many cars driving on them, it's all right. Because if it's constant line of cars on it, it's going to kick up a bunch of dirt in the air. But other than that, it's definitely all right to have dirt roads. So that's simple. It's been done for a long time. But then also, there's probably some kind of compound that we can make, in a healthy way without using oil, waste products. Without smearing that all over the ground everywhere. There's probably, a compound that we can make which is actually really super durable and lasts forever. And doesn't heat up too much that it'll pop tires or be hot to walk on in the day, like hot tar, is like hot to walk on or whatever. But some kind of compound that would be really durable. And then, I thought that, well, if I was to try and talk to people about this, a few of them at least would probably say, hey, what about people whose job it is to fix the roads? What would they do? They'd be out of a job. And to which, my response is, well, that's less work that has to get done, so that means more free time for the human race. Somehow that means somebody has more free time. It's like, well, losing your job isn't having more free time. Like, you need a job to survive. And to which I say, well, fixing a road doesn't necessarily lead to survival, especially if it doesn't need to get fixed. That direct action does not, fill your stomach. You still need to eat food. Fixing a road is a roundabout way of getting food and water and stuff. If that's your job and you're doing it for money, what you're spending it on food. Those same people could be growing food, either on their own land or land that somebody has and wants food to be grown on. And then obviously, well, you grew this food, here, have food, enough to eat, and have money too that is valuable, backed by this food, and whatever else. But people say, well, that's not practical in this day and age because of taxes, small farmers can't really, offer food. They can barely make it as it is. Most of them haven't been able to make it. Most small farmers have gone under. And I would agree with that person because I grew up in Vermont. I've seen that a lot, with my own eyes. People who had land, good land, wanted to grow food on it and couldn't because our servants, who we have supposedly elected, are requiring them to give them a bunch of money for even having the idea. Money is supposed to represent something tangible, like food. If you let them grow food, then there'd be giving value to money because there'd be something to spend it on. But you're not, you're requiring somebody's effort, somebody's extra effort, and if they do try, most of the result of all the food that they sold and stuff. So that's not serving anybody. That's what I'm pointing out there. It's not serving those people who are saying that were elected to serve. If it's a federal law and a whole community, a whole state, a whole city, a whole town of people say, this law is making life harder for us, we're just trying to grow food so we can have food, then, they shouldn't have to be afraid of the National Guard or the Army or the Navy or the Air Force or whoever, You know, they shouldn't, you know, their own police or whatever. The IRS, CIA, any of those guys. And they're all just doing their job. That's the crazy thing. What I'm saying is we could have a lot less jobs. We could have a lot more free time, and we could still eat well. What's not to love about that? Harmony, love now.